Hi there and welcome to On Demand HR's recruitment market update for June 2022. Today we're going to take a look at the ABS figures that were recently released based on May data, as well as unpacking some business surveys that have been compiled by Business New South Wales, which show some very interesting sentiments on the ground. First, we take a look at the headline unemployment rate, which continues to show record low sub 4% unemployment. The general market consensus is that these record low unemployment rates will continue and perhaps even tighten further for the remainder of 2022. We then turn our attention to the number of employed people, again showing record high levels. This appears to be consistent with the reduced unemployment rate, with those that are looking for work easily able to find it. This has likely been exacerbated by the low levels of international migration throughout the pandemic, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. We now turn our attention to the average monthly hours worked, which again is at decade-long highs. We see some significant variance in these figures throughout the pandemic, which is likely as a result of the federal JobKeeper scheme. Despite this, the strength shown by these numbers following the easing of restrictions not only tell us that anyone who wants a job can get it, but also workers are generally able to get as many hours as they would like to work. In our view, this really puts a spotlight on the narrative of the current federal government around casual and part-time workers not having security and control around their incomes. This is further supported by the underemployment figures, again at decade lows for both males and females, with the impacts of both the Delta and the Omicron waves very apparent in the charts. So what about migration? Well, it's been well reported in the media throughout the pandemic. For the first time that we can recall, Australia has had a negative net migration rate, which is forecasted not to return to pre-pandemic levels based on the Treasury forecasts until at least 2023 or 2024. This massive supply side shock of workers will take some time to resolve before a more normal recruitment market is returned. In our view, this could be one of the drivers that are causing the mass shortages that we're seeing in the hospitality, restaurants, and tourism sectors, as these industries are typical first steps for new migrants on arrival. So putting it all together, what do we have when it comes to the current state of the recruitment market in Australia? We have record low unemployment, record high number of people employed, record monthly hours worked, record low underemployment, and record low migration. So what does this all add up to? Well, in our view, these are all confirmation of a massive undersupply in the labour market. This seems fairly obvious to us on the ground as an active participant in the recruitment market. But when every indicator seems to point in the same direction, we think that businesses should be standing up and taking notice. However, supply is only one side of the equation. As our good friend Adam Smith introduced us to the invisible hands of the market, to truly understand the current state of the Australian employment market, we must also consider the demand side of the equation. We can see that according to the latest reports released in May by Seek, the job advertisements remain higher than pre-pandemic levels across the country, with Queensland and Victoria leading the way, and Western Australia and New South Wales not trailing too far behind. We can also see that hospitality, tourism, and retail continue to be one of the fastest growing sectors, which further illustrates the point we discussed earlier around the impact of the lack of international migration has had on the employment market. So in summary, we have record high demand coupled with record low supply in the labour market. What should businesses do to adapt? It's a little bit beyond the scope of this recruitment market update, but the high-level answer in our view is that in order to recruit talent in this type of market, businesses will need to adapt and change their approach to recruitment. Things like not offering workplace flexibility and long, drawn-out recruitment processes are simply no longer acceptable to the market. And those businesses that persist with doing things the way they've always been done will simply be left behind. But Australia-wide market statistics are one thing. What are businesses really experiencing on the ground in their recruitment efforts? Now, typically to tackle this problem, we would share with you some of our own practical experience as an advocate in the recruitment market on behalf of our clients. But today, we're going to take a different approach. We're blessed with some recent data from Business New South Wales in their Workforce Skills Survey that was released on the 23rd of June 2022. There are a number of observations from this survey, and we'll share with you a couple of the most interesting and relevant ones with you now. 72% of businesses surveyed indicated that they had at least 3 failed recruitment campaigns over the past 12 months. 26% of businesses also reported that staff shortages that they were experiencing were as a result of not getting any suitable applicants for their job vacancies. Now just take a moment to let that sink in. 72% of New South Wales businesses have had at least 3 failed recruitment campaigns over the past 12 months. In our opinion, sure, a lot of this may have to do with the current state of the recruitment market that we've just discussed. However, there is not much that businesses can do to control this. They must focus on what they can control in order to fill their vacant positions. So what are some of the things that are in businesses' control? Well, they're things like regular salary benchmarking to ensure that you're meeting the market expectations of the role. Please keep in mind, these may have changed recently. Having a robust recruitment process that's focused on speed and keeping applicants engaged throughout the process. And selling the benefits of the role and your business, not just focusing on what you're looking for and the salary on offer. The low-hanging fruit here is really workplace flexibility for most roles. Ask yourself the question, if an employee really needs to be in the office, or is it more of a case of this is how it's always been done and we're going to continue to do it this way? So that's it. That's a wrap for our June 2022 recruitment market update. And just before I pass you on and introduce you to some of the On-Demand HR team to talk about our free HR consultation and strategic action plan, I really think that Business New South Wales Chief Executive summed up the current challenges in the recruitment market perfectly by saying the business community in New South Wales is facing its most significant workforce challenge in more than 50 years. So my question to you is, what is your business going to do to adapt?
Does your business have a HR or workplace relations issue? Are you unsure how to work through compliance issues but still achieve a good business outcome? Why not take advantage of On-Demand HR's free 30-minute online consultation with an experienced HR consultant? At the end of the consultation, we also provide you with a strategic action plan to resolve your current issues. To see the types of matters we can help you with and schedule your consultation, please visit ondemandhr.com.au/advice. We look forward to delivering certainty, confidence and clarity for your business in your HR and workplace relations affairs.